John Bayley's at Turin Grove School in North London. He's observing introverted students who don't appear to engage in lessons.
If you can see children who have the potential to do better but aren't pushing themselves or just are sort of disengaged, I personally find that quite frustrating.
Withdrawn pupils are all too easy to ignore. They don't disrupt classes, but their potential is often wasted. So what can teachers do to help?
What would you think length of growing season will increase?
Good.
You think that's a good thing? Why do you think it's good, Johnny?
Because then... Wait, Mr. Troy, again. Which one?
John Bayley is working to unlock the hidden talents of quiet students with geography teacher Sarah DeLooze and Adam Bishop, who teaches history.
In the room, no hands up, please. You know the rules. But being kind. I'll say, Vicky, yes, go on.
Both have already taken some tentative steps to encourage their quietest pupils. And John's here to see what progress they've made.
I'm just going to use that one. So when you put your influences or sources of information on your post-it, can you then put it on your sheet? It's probably easier.
We've probably got out of them 30% of the performance of which they're really capable, do you think, given their intelligence and their... Am I being too low? Am I being too tough?
Makes you think what we get out of them usually, then if that was one of their better lessons.
Yeah, 40 to 50.
Write on your post-it something that influences you. Can be something you read, can be something you see, anything. Umut, your group's going to use that one.
Adam's taking a lesson on the Nazis' use of propaganda, and he's changed his usual way of arranging things by putting one of the quietest boys, Umut, in charge of a group.
Yeah, it's all right.
Yeah.
Umut. Pupils, okay, that kind of ties in with selective. One more. Newspapers. Newspapers, very good, yeah.
Now here's one of the chaps, isn't it?
That's right.
What was it that worked?
Well, basically giving him some responsibility, making him a bit of a centre of attention so that he couldn't hide, and he I think he discovered, we were both working our way through it a little bit, and I think he discovered he liked a bit of responsibility. I've got, say, quite a few in this class who would happily take on that role and do it well, and I wouldn't naturally pick on them. So maybe that's something I've got to look at.
What do you think? And the map where they moved over.
And these dots are called...
In Sarah's Year 9 lesson, Charlie and Adam tend to be introspective and not very engaged.
What did the animation say? Why do we need these greenhouse gases? What do they do?
It keeps us alive.
Keeps us alive? Why? What does it give us?
Air. Oxygen.
Really?
That's not an engaged young man, is it?
No. Adam is, maybe chilled out and sometimes can look a little bit sad. So we're going to do this next exercise with the person next to you, OK? If you're on your own...
Late into the lesson, she introduced a paired activity that at last sparked some participation from the two boys.
There are 10 effects.
John's keen to see what can be drawn from this.
I want you to sort them out into either gains, Reese, or losses.
Good thing.
What's an Arctic plant?
Length of growth season. That's a good thing.
What's special about it?
The only fish is snow for winters.
Where's the Arctic? Is it hot or cold?
It's a bad thing.
It's cold.
This is heading forward now, though.
Extinction, is that a good word?
Mediterranean suns.
It's a bad thing, OK? So they might die forever.
The whole of your lesson, Sarah, came to life after that sort, and they're with it. You've got them. They're talking to each other, and they're talking about the topic. What's going on? Why should that pull them in? Why have they suddenly been given the gift of life?
You know, maybe with boys like these two. You know, I've seen in the video which activities got them kind of engaged. You know, and I try and do that at the start of the lesson. to get them in and then, you know, really get them engaged straight away.
Okay, and so what sort of engagement strategies might you use early in the lesson?
It would be much more in the way of discussion. It's something for next year actually I'd quite like to do, to get them more used to kind of peer discussion.
Can you imagine that kind of language on the go in your classroom? Would they buy it?
I think you'd have to build up to it a little bit.
Yeah, I think it's...
Although they surprised me last lesson. You know, they started to, just by giving them a bit of a sort of more fun framework, they start to bounce off each other a bit. But they're not immensely used to it, I'd say. No,
I think that's it. You've got to get them used to it.
I'd just be worried that we'd actually be able to get any work done, and then the work that we do would be dominated by those who are more extrovert. But that's worst case scenario.
German people. It shows the leader.
Drawing in these disengaged students, it's a bit like fishing for salmon or something. You're trying to find the fly that'll catch them. You're creating an atmosphere. You're looking for the things that'll pull them in.
OK, we're going 5, 4, 3, all rustling away. 2, 1 and 0. OK.
You're very gentle with all your children. Like I notice you do your countdowns very respectfully. So I'm going to call that environment for learning. I come to your classroom, I'm a little bit withdrawn. I don't easily join in. But after a while I realise there's someone there who likes me, they want to build a relationship with me, and the general atmosphere in the classroom is calm. So I begin to think, OK, this feels like a place where I can do some learning.
Okay, let's think about
Despite Adam's best efforts, other quiet pupils in his lesson, such as Chris, still struggle to take part.
Chris?
Books.
Books, excellent.
Your parents.
He tends not to like to put himself forward generally. He's very quietly spoken, and I think that he could do with a little bit more confidence. The standard of his written work's good, and so I'd quite like to actually... He'd improve the class by participating verbally.
He's a bright student.
Another Chris is also reluctant to communicate.
Went to and had war with. Yeah. You write it down.
He quite likes the lessons. He's very affable, a young man, but he does lack confidence. And so he will respond very well to encouragement, I guess.
I think with the children that we've sort of been talking about, they're not low ability by any means, but they do need pushing. So you have to give them, you know, responsibilities, or you have to ask them questions, and you have to kind of, you know, demand an answer.
Everyone agreed a precondition to engaging withdrawn pupils is a sensitive classroom environment to build confidence. With this in place, teachers can try new strategies and push quiet students much harder. A few days later, Adam decides to try this out in a smaller class containing his quietest Year 9s.
Hiya, Chris. Chris, if you join this group on the side there, please.
His aim is to put both Chris's on the spot.
Joshua, if you come in here, that'll be fine.
It's a lesson on the Holocaust. First, he takes care to nurture their confidence.
Question just to get you thinking. If you had a government that came in now, say there's a new government of whichever type, that came in and said, we are going to wipe out a whole religion, what would happen if they said that, Calvin?
Lots of people try to leave the country.
Possibly. I think they'd do a bit more than that. What else might they do? Chris? Would they accept it?
No.
Why? Yeah, I agree with you. What would they do?
Kill them.
Adam's setting up a group work task to create a timeline.
So there's 3 dates for you to do. All I've written there is April, all Jews working in the civil service lost their jobs. Who do civil servants work for? Chris, can you have a think if you think that people in the local council possibly work as a civil servant, people work up in London working as civil servants, what major group would they work for?
I don't actually know.
If they run
the
things.
Government. I was thinking the government, but I wasn't actually going to say.
Have confidence in your abilities. OK, what I'm going to do is team leaders are going to give out the dates for each person to watch out. Chris, you're going to be one team leader. You tell each person which date they're going to do, and you can draw it. Charlie, you're going to be the team leader here, and Chris, you're going to be the team leader there. Yeah. All you've got to do is allocate them. Allocate which dates. If I give you... I don't think that'll take you more than about 4 or 5 minutes. Go.
Just basically tell us what, like, dates. Just pick one. Me. Pick them.
33's already done, so it's 3 dates.
1941. What am I doing?
1935.
What dates have you got? What date have you allocated?
Akash. What date was you?
45.
You're 41. I'm 41.
41, 38. 35.
He's 35.
Yeah, if you look that one up.
Local authorities ban students from swimming baths, parks and playing fields.
So which, you're Sonia?
Yeah.
Whoops. Top line, yeah?
Yeah.
While this Chris has managed to take charge, the other Chris is finding it more difficult.
Revenge attacks on
If you get that down, Chris.
Which one are you doing, Akash?
World War I.
How Germany fought after the First World War. That's easy.
Are we going 5, 4, 3. Pens down, please. 2, 1, and 0. Okay, Chris, can you grab your sheet, please? Akash and Joshua, leave it for the moment. Okay, what have you got for 35?
Local authorities bans you from swimming banks, parks and playing fields.
Okay, that's pretty good. So they're banned for some public places, swimming baths, that. And what did you have for 41, Chris?
Others were sent to concentration camps and killed.
Okay. How did they persuade people? We talked about Max brought in the idea.
When they taught little kids to like hate their religion and all that.
Absolutely. So they did it from a young age. Why didn't they oppose it? Why didn't they go against it? Why do you think that gentleman there, he said he didn't agree with it, but why do you think he didn't go against it?
Because they'll kill them.
Yeah, possibly. Might be a bit mild on that. Yes, Chris?
Propaganda.
Well, yeah, possibly. You would have felt that peer pressure, wouldn't you? It's a really good answer. Okay.
Today, 2 students who usually have little to say have made an important contribution to the lesson.
What did you think of the quality of the talk they produced?
I have to say that here it's quite a new departure for me in a way, giving them that free format. I think they're more used to Q&A and that being more formulated either in individual work or in pair work. So they had to be prompted, but I thought they did well. Yeah. I thought that it was better than I'd expected.
What's good about students talking? So you've got a few quiet kids in here, they don't talk all that much. What's the issue? Why are we bothered? Why do we want them to talk a bit more?
You can get higher standard advanced thinking. They actually feel it's a bit of a challenge themselves and a chance to, in the nicest way, show off.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think another thing goes on as well, which is articulating thoughts, vocalising them. Sometimes that's the first time you really know what you think, isn't it?